Rory, when we were all kids and they say, what do you want to be when you grow up? Not very many people said animal keeper. What made you decide that's what you wanted to do for a living?
I've always loved animals. I grew up going to a lot of zoos, and it was something that I always wanted to do. I built a little mini zoo in my basement when I was a kid. I always loved hanging out with my dogs. As I got older, my parents used to take me to zoos, and they said that I was smarter than the animal keepers, which I hope wasn't true. But I'm lucky enough now. I went to a small college and I was able to get a great education in wildlife care. And now I'm lucky enough to work for Disney's Animal Kingdom, taking care of some amazing animals.
I would like to think she thinks that we're best friends, but she's a giraffe.
So you were the child when you said, if I get a puppy, I promise I'll take care of it, and you really did. Now you're taking care of...
Well, my family always had a lot of dogs, so I was lucky enough in that respect.
Yeah, so now you're taking care of over 300 species, over 5,000 animals, and that population grew recently.
Yeah, so on Tuesday morning, we had a female Masai giraffe born to Mom Mara. The little baby does not have a name yet. That'll be forthcoming, but everything is going really smoothly. The little girl weighs about 156 pounds, and she's just a little bit shorter, like right around here. I actually held her head during her well baby exam the other day. Everything's doing really well. She's a bouncy little baby giraffe.
Sign her up for the WNBA right now. All right. What's so great about this series is that we're going behind the scenes. So a lot of stuff that most of us in the general public would never get to see, even things like the Imagineering team, because there's a lot put into trying to make the habitat look as natural as it can for these animals, which is great in terms of impacting their behavior and their health.
Yeah, so we offer all sorts of stuff like that. The Imagineering team did an amazing job, and they always do an amazing job. One of the coolest things, I think, and it's pretty unique to Disney's Animal Kingdom, is we have a fantastic horticulture department that at night, because Disney's a 24-hour company, when all of our animals are safe and secure in their barns, we will actually go out and plant thousands of potted grasses. And it's always a joke that on those days when we do that, the animals never want to come back to their barn the next day because they're having a great time out there on savanna. We can usually get them in. We use positive reinforcement. All of the animals on our savanna are actually on a sound. So it's like a dinner bell to come back to their barn.
The other thing that's 24/7, of course, is their care, doing all kinds of things, including like dental checkups. I don't know if I want to do a dental checkup on a lion and stick my hand in their mouth, but there's all types of things that you constantly have to be aware of with these animals.
So yeah, the biggest part of my job, other than raking and shoveling, is observation skills on the animals. Getting a relationship with your animals, so when you know if something is up with them, you can take appropriate actions. For Kenya, the animal that is featured in the first episode of Magic of Disney's Animal Kingdom, for a few years, we've been monitoring her hoof health, and it was finally decided that we needed to start trimming her hooves. So it took a couple of years, but we've been able to voluntarily train her to lift her leg up onto a block. And one of our wonderful vets, Dr. Dan, has been able to do some great trimming on her feet.
Speaking of forming those relationships, you have a Hyena Spa day.
Our hyena have some of the greatest keepers at this facility. They love bubble baths. One of our female hyena in particular loves to run around in her bubble bath. Every single animal here is spoiled, but I know for sure our hyenas are very well taken care of.
What's so nice about this too is that you're using the best of technology, and that means that we get the best views and the unobtrusive views, because one thing we don't want animals to do is kind of be aware of what's happening in terms of us recording them. We want to see them in their most natural selves, right? Why do you think it's so important for us to watch these types of series and appreciate what these series want to teach us?
Well, I think it's really important because zoos don't just provide a place for people to just come see animals. We want to provide an educational experience with a conservation message where if you guys come, you can become inspired. You know, maybe the little Rory's coming to Disney's Animal Kingdom and he becomes inspired to be a zookeeper. We're learning a lot in particular about giraffe that we're then able to take care of their wild cousins better in terms of hoof health. Actually, a big issue with giraffe is a giraffe skin disease that we're learning more about in zoo settings that we're able to transfer to the wild setting. So we're not just here feeding and picking up, you know, what they leave after, but we're really trying to make a difference in their lives and their wild cousins' lives.
Yeah, we make a difference between humans, we're animals too, right? And the other animals, but what is it that we can learn from them?
So the biggest thing that I think and I've learned from animals is patience, especially working with giraffe. If you can't make an animal do something it doesn't want to do. So we use positive reinforcement to have animals be set up for success. Well, sometimes if a giraffe doesn't want to move, it doesn't want to move. For instance, if you've ever been on the safari ride here at Disney's Animal Kingdom, if an animal goes in the road, it may stay in the road. In particular, Kenya, the giraffe who was in that first episode, she's been staying in the road before for 30, 40 minutes, and that can be a pretty fun experience for the guests on the truck.
Yeah, and I have a friend the other day whose child has come back from college who said, we got to learn from some animals that they kick them out of the nest and they stay out of the nest.
Yeah, I mean, so giraffe are funny like that. Giraffe can, the little babies, some of our female giraffe who've given birth are very like, oh, the baby's fine, I'm gonna go over here. Some of them are really on top of the kid. And usually that transfers into what that kid's personality is gonna be. Mara is kind of kid's all right. So we think this is gonna be a pretty independent little baby giraffe.
Tell us about Gus the hippo. And by the way, who's in charge of doing the naming of each one of them? How do you do that? Do you like look at the hippo and go, that looks like a Gus to me?
Well, so Gus the hippo is one of our male hippos. He's really important to the species survival plan, which is something that comes into part when we're breeding animals. We have a fantastic hippo team here. We have a very large herd of hippos, and they get to have a really large area to swim in, which actually I say that hippos don't technically swim, they more just bounce in the water. The naming is something that can happen with, it could be a guest experience where guests get to name an animal. A lot of times though, we try to have themes with our animals. A lot of times giraffe are named after trees here. I really like when animals just have kind of regular names. The newest giraffe that was born here at Disney's Animal Kingdom, her dad is named George, and he's a perfect George.
If you had to be another animal, something other than human, you had to be, which one would you be?
I would be a snow leopard.
Oh, why?
I love snow leopards. I love the snow, which is funny because I live in Florida, but they are really agile, they're really quick, and they're really intelligent.
All right, I'd be an elephant because I'd have an excuse for being overweight at times. But Rory, thank you very much. What an incredible job, and thanks for taking us behind the scenes.
Have a great day.